Hello and welcome to the Leading Lounge. I'm your host, Dr. Justin Dubose. Here in the Leading Lounge, we talk with today's leaders and unpack lessons learned and being learned from a career of leading and communicating in their field. These conversations are designed to be both informal and informative, and we want to equip you with wisdom and tools to empower you as a leader where you are and where you want to be. All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome to episode 44 of the Leading Lounge, our first real episode of season 6 as we pick back up into this wonderful book, The Leadership Challenge. As with every episode, the link to purchase this book from Amazon is going to be in the show notes if you're listening on a podcast platform, or in the description if you're watching on our YouTube channel. You can find us, by the way, on YouTube at The Leading Lounge. Just search for The Leading Lounge and you'll find this episode and all the other episodes of the show we've done for the 6 seasons thus far. So I'm really excited to pick up season 6 with this topic, okay? The topic for today's episode is trust as a performance booster, how investing in trust drives success, okay? So we're picking up on the leadership challenge. This is the 4th practice. So the book has 5 practices for leaders to practice to make them better leaders, which is what we've been unpacking through these episodes. And I'll catch you up. The first practice is model the way. The second practice is inspire a shared vision. Third practice is challenge the process. And then the 4th one that we're going to start with this episode 44, looking at, is enable others to act. Enable others to act, okay? And it's chapter 9 in the book, which starts on page 195. And by the way, if you want to go back and listen and get caught up to where we unpack all 4 of those, or at least the 3 previous ones, and now today we start episode 4, go back to episode 26. So episode 26 is the first episode where we're diving into the leadership challenge. And now here we are, episode 44, starting on chapter 9 with this important topic of investing in trust and how that is what's going to drive success for you and your organization. And here is kind of the question, okay, that we're going to answer is, every leader everywhere in the world, across all industries, they want to build a high-performing team. But the real question is, how do you do that? You're going to get a bunch of opinions if you listen to podcasts or you talk to people. There's a number of ways to do it, okay? There's a number of ways that you build a high-performing team, which is part of enabling others to act, which will grow your vision, build your business, expand your impact, whatever it is you want to do. But again, the one thing about this book, The Leadership Challenge, that is so wonderful is it's research-based, right? So it's a ton of research that goes into their answers. And as you might expect, the title probably gave it away. Their answer is trust. Their answer is, to the question of how do you build a high-performing team? Their answer is trust. There's many studies which have yielded the same result, okay? Which is that team trust amongst team members, is a strong predictor of team performance. In other words, teams that don't trust each other, they're not going to perform well. Predictably, they're not going to perform well. No matter what the industry is, no matter what the landscape is, no matter what the country is or the area where you're operating, teams that do not trust one another are not going to perform well. Conversely, teams that do trust one another predictably will perform well, right? You don't have to assemble an all-star cast, the best and the brightest, the people that are just absolutely the cream of the crop to perform well, to build a high-performing team. According to research, what you need is trust. You need trust. You need people who trust one another. So what I want to do today, as we're talking about investing in trust and trust as a performance booster, is I want to give you 3 steps that you can take to invest in trust to build your team. It can be the team that you have. If they trust one another, if you want to start to build trust and increase their performance, or if you want to start if you're starting from scratch building a team, or perhaps you're looking at adding new people, whatever you're looking at doing on your team, let me encourage you. Research says invest in trust. And here's 3 ways as a leader today that you can do that. That's going to help you increase the performance ceiling of your team, no matter where you are. And here is the first one. The first one is you, leader, Mr. Leader or Mrs. Leader, be the first to trust. Be the first one to trust. Don't wait on other team members to start building trust. Don't wait for other team members to start initiating the process of trust within your team. If you wait on others, it'll never happen. You have to be the first to trust. It's one of the burdens of leadership, right? You want to invest in the culture. Hey, be the first to trust. Be the first to trust. There's a really great story. It's on page 200 of the book. And I'm just going to read it to you because it communicates really well what we're talking about, the importance of being the first to trust, and maybe why some people don't, why it's so difficult for us. Story goes like this. When this manager, AJ is his name, when AJ first started, he was so eager to prove to upper management that his team could be successful that he wouldn't trust them to do the work by themselves. He felt that too much was riding on the outcome to give any level of autonomy to his reports. AJ would force his techniques and methods on his constituents, and when they did not comply, he would literally sit over their shoulder to show them exactly what he wanted to be done, micromanaging at its finest. And that ended up being the only work to get done. And most of it was done by AJ himself, sitting at the desk of his reports. My colleagues could not stand his approach. They did not have any respect or trust for him, and they continuously talked badly about him behind his back. Does that sound familiar? Is that you know someone like that just there's no trust, micromanagement? There's micromanagement everywhere because we just don't trust one another. And so you got to be the first to trust. If you're the leader, what should AJ have done? If we're doing an autopsy, if we're doing an after action review of what AJ the manager did wrong, what should he have done? Well, in retrospect, everyone can see, hey, he should have given them the tasks and he should have left them alone, trusted them to do it. He should have, let them do it. The work would have multiplied if each one would have been working on their own goals or projects, and AJ could have been just kind of managing. The level of productivity and performance would just go through the roof compared to AJ, the distrusting micromanager. And so one question, especially if you're a young leader, that I would ask you to think about is, are you more concerned with yourself and your performance than anything else? Because that's the wrong answer. Many times young leaders in particular, I think, feel that they have something to prove. They need to prove their worth to the team. They need to prove their worth to their leaders. And so they're so afraid that other people's performance will reflect poorly on them that they don't trust them. And in that instance, of course, there's no trust that's allowed to be developed on the team, which is going to lower the ceiling on what the team can accomplish. So if you're a leader, be the first to trust. It's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable, especially if you've never done it before. Many people have trust issues because they've trusted other people and then they've got burned. But you have to understand, regardless of how you feel, you have to be the first to trust. Show your people that you trust them with the work that they have. When you do that, you'll be surprised. You'll be shocked sometimes by the results, by the creativity, by the ingenuity and the performance level of your team. Because they'll show you, and not everyone is trustworthy, but those who are will show themselves, and those who aren't will also show themselves over time. And you can begin to see, oh, here's the high performers. Let me turn them loose. And then you can begin to identify those that are not trustworthy or not worthy of your trust, and then you can bring in others in those roles that are. So first step is be the first to trust. Don't wait on other members of your team to do it. Be the first to trust. Here's the second thing. And this is hard for a lot of people too. Second thing, if you want to build trust to build a higher performing team, is show concern, real genuine concern for your team members. Let them see, let them feel, let them experience that you genuinely care about them, that you are genuinely concerned about them. Many organizations work, they have one-on-ones. I do a lot of work with Chick-fil-A leaders. And Chick-fil-A in particular, I think they do a wonderful job, really outstanding job of one-on-ones, having people at every level of leadership sit down with their team one-on-one and say, "Hey, let's talk. Let's make sure that we're on the same page and that we're getting the job done." And so don't just make your one-on-ones, don't build it so that it's your opportunity to talk. It's your opportunity to tell your team members what you need from them, what they need to be doing, where they need to be focusing. That's an important part of it, but it's only one part of it. Make sure in those one-on-ones, and if you're not having one-on-ones, start tomorrow or today, but build in time to listen. Hey, what do you need from me? How can I support you? How can I care for you? What's going on that's too big for you right now? Just tell me how I can help you. I'm concerned about you. Is there anything going on in your personal life that might be hindering work? It might be spilling over, into work. And then part of that too is as you're listening, make sure you're writing things down or typing them into your phone or however you record notes, but record things that are important to them as you listen, as you give them the opportunity to share. They're going to share things that are important to them. You're going to be able to hear those and discern those. Write those things down, record them. Don't just let it be in the moment and then you forget. That's very easy to do. I'm as guilty as the rest of us. But part of showing true concern for your team members, for those people that you lead, is record those things. Make sure they get recorded somehow, and you can go back before your next one-on-one and sit down and revisit those things and bring them up. I mean, that goes so far in letting people know that you care about them, that you really listened to them. And then a third part of that, I would say, is let them implement some of their suggestions. Some of the best things that have happened in organizations that I've personally been a part of is in those one-on-one times, people will give suggestions. You know what? I don't know about this. Like, I don't think this is very clear. Or actually, I think this is a terrible idea. Or this is working okay, but it could be much better. Can I just offer a suggestion? What if we tried this? And when people see that some of their suggestions are being implemented, oh my goodness, it goes so far in letting them know, man, this person really cares. They're really concerned about me. I don't know if you've watched the show Lasso, Ted Lasso. Really great show. I'm a big fan. It's on Apple Plus if you want to go check it out if you haven't already. But one scene that I always remember is Ted Lasso. So some of the context is he's this kind of goofy Midwestern football coach who goes to the UK to coach a football team. And he's saying, "Hey, here's a suggestion box, put some of your suggestions in here." And all the players just kind of scoff it off because they're used to no one listening to them or caring what they have to say. And one of them puts in the suggestion box, "Hey, there's no water pressure in the showers." And so they come in one day and the water pressure is so much that it knocks a guy down in the showers. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, he read the suggestion. He listened to it and he put it into place. That's incredible." And it's a small, rather silly example, but it's very true. The power of implementing the suggestions of your team after you build in a time and place to listen and you actually listen and you write down those things that are important to them, that is going to go so far in beginning to build trust, which is going to be a huge part of building a high performing team. So be the first one to trust, even if it's uncomfortable. Show concern for your team members in listening to them and writing things down that they say and implementing some of their suggestions. And then the third thing I'd say is a part of building trust is let them own a particular goal or project. Just let them absolutely own it. Back to the example of AJ, the manager. The problem that he had was he never let anyone own it. He would literally sit over their shoulder, it said, and micromanage everything they did. And so the only thing that was happening was whatever AJ was doing in someone else's, workspace. And also, we're just building even more distrust in that kind of leadership. So let them own it. Let success or failure to whatever degree rest upon them. If the project or the goal succeeds, oh my gosh, let's celebrate them. This team member, we let them own it, and oh my goodness, they own it and they did great. Let's throw a party. Everybody, let's celebrate what they did. Celebrate them when they succeed. And then conversely, if they fail, which they must have the opportunity to fail. Part of owning a goal or a project is that you have the ability to succeed or fail. And failure, a lot of times, is the greatest catalyst for growth. So let them have the opportunity to fail. And if they do fail, if they fall short on some account, just encourage them, help them. Listen, I see your effort. I see what you did. I see the ways in which you succeeded, but we just didn't quite make it over here. But I'm so, so very proud of you. Like, I can see the work that you're doing. I can see the investment that you made. I can see as your leader, your growth is happening. So celebrate them when they succeed and encourage them and help them when they fall short. And you'll be amazed. I mean, seriously, you'll be amazed, not just at the productivity that occurs, but at the level of trust that'll begin to develop, right? So trust is a strong predictor of team performance. If you want to build a high performing team, you got to have a high level of trust. Research based, it's borne out multiple times. 3 steps you can take today to begin to build trust is: be the first one on your team to trust. Set the tone. Show concern for your team members and let them absolutely own a goal or project as part of the team. And the great thing about those is you can start implementing those today, right? Or tomorrow, if you're listening in the evening hours or something. You don't have to wait. You can start doing those right now. And when you start doing those, you'll begin to see trust developed among your team, and it'll be remarkable. It might be slow, it might be steady, like watching a child grow up. It's happening. It's just slow and gradual. But you can start with implementing those today. And if you need help, implementing those, because that's hard work. I mean, it really is. It's changing a culture is probably the hardest thing a leader can do. I know from experience, research bears it out. Other people's experience says the same thing. It's really hard. So a lot of times in those instances in particular, coaching is a wonderful accelerator of doing that. And so this is where I'll give my plug for coaching. Get a coach to come alongside you. This is what I love to do with clients. Get a coach to come alongside you and help you think through and process out, how do we do this? How do we begin to change a culture? How do we take what we know we need to do that's like at the macro level and then bring it down to micro steps in our organization with our people, in our tempo that we have every day? How do we do that? That's where coaching really comes in handy. So I would love to help you. I really would. It's what brings me joy. I love doing it so much. So if I can help you, if you even think I can help you, you can hit up our website, communicatetoCare.com. I'd love to have a free consultation, just sit down and talk with you. Hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your organization. What are the problems you're having? What are you trying to do? What do you think kind of the barriers are? And just sit down and game plan that out with you and kind of build a coaching plan that'll help you begin to implement these important things to build your higher performing team. And I think you'll be absolutely shocked at the results if you make that investment in yourself, in your organization, in your business, your company, in your team, and in yourself, really. So, trust is a performance booster. And if you invest in trust, it'll drive success, and you'll be amazed at just how powerful and how rich of an investment that is. So, that's chapter 9, the leadership challenge, fostering collaboration, enabling others to act, beginning to build a climate of trust. I hope that was helpful. I hope you are absolutely thriving in your role. If not, I'd love to help you. Reach out, and until then, I'll see you on episode 45.